What's up, everybody? Today's video topic is, are men giving up the silent collapse? Now, if you've looked at pop culture, society, and you have done any kind of analysis, you'll notice that femininity is elevated and toxic masculinity is looked down upon. So we're going to break up this video into a few portions: the symptoms, the stats, the reaction, and some reasons why this is going on. So some of the symptoms of what's going on in, I guess you could call it the manosphere, right, is number one, declining testosterone. I forget what streamer it was. He looked like a low T soy beta dude, and he was getting his testosterone results back live on camera, and they were like, yeah, your test levels are 100, and he's like, is that good? I don't know. And it's like, no, that's really bad. You know, some people can be 800, 1,000 test naturally. So declining testosterone, this could be because of diet. Everything we eat, especially in the United States, is poison. This could be because of psychological factors, staying inside all day, not exercising, scrolling on social, and just stagnation, right? So one of the biggest symptoms. Another one is escapism, and this was me for a while, playing video games, addicted to porn, drugs, whatever it is, alcohol, marijuana. When you don't feel like you can even compete or you'll be rewarded, what do? You try and escape your reality, which you hate, and you replace that with video games, which is usually hyper competitive, porn just to numb your brain, and drugs also just to numb you out. And so that's a huge one. It's really tough to get out of that negative feedback cycle. And so also dropping out of school and work. If you look at the college enrollment rates and the college graduation rates, women are elevated, men are in decline. It's actually 60% of college enrollment is women, 40% is men. So men are opting to drop out of college. Maybe they go into trade school, maybe they don't even, right? Maybe they just live in their parents' basement, get a part-time job, do some online gig work, right? And they don't even want to compete in this atmosphere. So dropping out is a big thing. Social isolation. So with everything being online, with everyone on social media, with men declining with their testosterone, escaping, dropping out, that leads to social isolation, right? So you don't feel good about yourself. You ain't shit, right? If that's what you're telling yourself. And so social isolation is just, I'm just gonna stay home and do nothing and bed rot, right? Rot in my bed. Something else here is avoiding relationships and marriage, right? If all of these things are causing issues, you don't stand a chance, or at least in your own mind, of being with, a woman, getting a girlfriend, whatever, because you feel like terrible, you don't even leave the house, you don't have anything going on in your life. Okay, so some of the other stats, so those are the symptoms. Some of the stats with kind of backing up this topic is labor force participation, male aged 25 to 54, has steadily been decreasing since the 1980s. So men are dropping out of the workforce, women are elevated, DEI, whatever it could be. If you're a man, the statistics have been showing decreases in participation there. Marriage rates, these have steadily been declining since before the 80s, since the 70s. It used to be 70-80% of men were married in the 1920s, and the curve is just straight down, right? Steadily down, decreasing. It's below 50% now. I believe that's by the age of 30, that statistic is. And so that's a clear telltale sign. Men are dropping out of that, right? College enrollment, we touched on this. And then suicide rates are 3 to 4 times higher on average in men than in women, because people in society don't give a fuck about men unless they are something, they build something, they become someone, right? And if no one cares about them and they're going through a really, really tough time, self-deletion, right? Okay, so we're going to get into the reactions here, 2 options, but there's something else I wanted to pull up, couldn't fit it on this whiteboard, and some of the reasons for men in society giving up is no purpose or role models. If you think about Hollywood, mainstream social figures, a lot of them are men walking down the red carpet in dresses. There are no real masculine movies in Hollywood produced, like, let's say 300, right? Or The Matrix, or some other things where it's a strong male figure and he is leading the way, right? A lot of that has been feminized, right? And so another huge thing is rejection and dating app burnout, right? So if you are dumb enough as a man to download a dating app, maybe this is your sign to delete that shit, right? It's women get all the attention. Doesn't matter if they're ugly, right? Whatever, fat. Women will get hundreds of matches. Men, even if you consider yourself good looking, in shape, flexing your car or whatever, you get nothing. You get, maybe you get a couple of matches, and then the women get that dopamine hit and delete the match and move on, right? So it's just a meat grinder of 90% of men get nothing, and then all women get attention. Okay, being disincentivized by society is another reason why a lot of men are giving up, right? That's coming back to hyper-femininity, feminine empowerment, feminism, and the degradation of masculinity and male traits, right? Society seeing that as toxic. Addiction to comfort is another reason why a lot of men are dropping out, right? So going back to video games, porn, drugs, alcohol, any of those things where you can just kind of sit behind a screen, never leave your room, and then you're just addicted to comfort because pain, progress is associated with pain, and then people don't like feeling uncomfortable and all these things. So another thing is being shamed to be masculine and masculine traits, right? Toxic masculinity. When in reality, masculine traits are literally the backbone of society. It's what all of our power grid, oil, construction, men are needed for all of those things so that, everyone can go about their day-to-day life in society. So, the reaction, right? If in general men are giving up, right, there's 2 ways to react to all of this, right? So you can either give up or you can fight back. So giving up would be black pill, right? Just nihilism, belief in nothing matters, and just say, nope, I'm out, I'm done, I'm opting out, I am fucking off, I'm checking out of society, I don't even care. You guys have your fun, I'm gonna do my own thing. MGTOW, right? Men going their own way. That could be, okay, this looks really bad, I can't get a girlfriend, I can't get a good job, I can't save money. I'm just gonna live in a tent in the middle of nowhere and just somehow eke out a living doing odd jobs or whatever, right? And then just numbness, right? Drinking every day, numbing yourself with jerking off 5 times a day, any of the other shit where it's just forgetting about your problems, being like an ostrich and putting your head in the sand and being like, nah, I'm done, okay? The other option, and obviously the more difficult, is to fight back, right? Fight back against all this, decrease in masculinity in society and all these things. So self-improvement would be the first place to start. I'm 29 now. When I was 20, 21, I started reading a lot of books on psychology, on business, on entrepreneurship, right? Started lifting weights, started training martial arts. I'm now a jiu-jitsu brown belt. And so Self-improvement, if you have no other place to start, go to the fucking gym. You'll feel better, you'll look better, you'll get in better shape, people will respect you more, right? It's hard to get started with these things, but once you build the discipline, you're in a really good place. Okay, so yeah, fitness and brotherhood, if you're talking about those things combined, martial arts is great for that. Sports can be really good for that. Anything where you're like-minded individuals who want to improve and not go to the bar and drink themselves to death every weekend. Okay, so pursuing purpose over pleasure is another way to fight back, right? And that's essentially stoicism and being like, I'm going to do the hard things, which suck now, but in the future, there will be a massive payoff, right? Rather than doing the easy things now and having a harder life later down the line. And then building value. That's a great one. It could be anything from building your physical body, right? Getting in better shape. It could be working on your mindset, right? Working on your social circle, working on a business, working on your career, right? Anything to build value and essentially improve yourself. And that really is one of the best ways to go about that, and put that in the center of your universe, and then everything else, friends, family, whatever else, comes secondary to getting your shit together. Okay, so really, in reality, men aren't actually really giving up, and they're not broken. It's more of they're uninspired, right? Uninspired by masculine figures in society, which there are very few of. Uninspired by the media and how it glorifies women and shits on men, right? They're uninspired by maybe their friends and family who are not really trying to improve themselves. And so if you take everything into account and you have two options, which would you choose? Hope this video helped. If it did, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.